Also, I suppose one of the more the images that we've seen circulating more are these of what appear to be Iraqi soldiers wearing plain clothes. This is after a base was taken over in Tikrit in Iraq last week, and that is a still from a video. And indeed, we then saw the Iraqi army releasing images online showing these aerial bombings. So it is very much a propaganda war using the media and the social media to illustrate the strength of your respective side in this battle. It's not altogether new. We're seeing this over the last number of years with the increasing importance of social media, that it is becoming a tool by warring factions to get their message out there, to show how strong they are, to show, you know, how they have struck the other side. So it allows us at home to live through the conflict in real time. But it does also raise questions about how authentic those images are. It is also easy to manipulate social media. Who can say for sure who uploaded the images, where they were shot? It's difficult to verify these sort of images. And if you look on the International Business Times, those questions are being raised. Are the ISIS execution photos fake? It is a question that's being asked. The Times of London's deputy editor, Elizabeth Orkut, she assessed the authenticity of those pictures, and she said the photographs are of very high quality compared to the usually poor quality images derived from video footage, high pixelation, etc. Erin Evers of Human Rights Watch also had some questions. She said she wasn't fully convinced about how authentic the images were or are. The Iraqi army has verified those images. Other authorities have verified those images as well. Local and US sources seem to say that they are accurately depicting events on the ground. But for now, there are some question marks over the authenticity being raised in the media. However, here in France 24, one of our own journalists on the Arabic channel, Tatiana El Khouri, who has seen a lot of these ISIS propaganda videos before, said in fact they are often of very high quality. They have a propaganda department. They film in high definition quality. So perhaps if the images are of high pixelation, that it would not be unusual for the quality of propaganda that this organisation tends to issue. But questions still being raised in the media, Tom, about the authenticity.
Now, staying with that story, someone who's no stranger to goings-on in Iraq is, of course, the former British Prime Minister, Tony Blair. Now, he's been speaking about what's been happening there in Iraq, and he's, as a result, not surprisingly, come in for a certain amount of criticism online.
That's right, and I suppose, you know, if you look at the dates of the Iraq War, it was March 2003. It's over 10 years ago now, and indeed the role of the media in influencing public opinion, especially with social media images such as these that came out over the course of the conflict. This one, Tom, it was the 10th anniversary of this photo recently. It showed two American soldiers hanging from a bridge, and public opinion just plummeted in the US, in Britain and elsewhere. And that's one of the reasons why Tony Blair, who over the weekend suggested military intervention again in Iraq, has been so heavily criticised, because public opinion regarding the Iraq War is so negative in the last number of years. So he did say over the weekend in a series of interviews that we must intervene in Iraq. You can see that he was lambasted on social media with tweets saying, Tony Blair saying that we can't just wash our hands of it and walk away. No, nobody could wash that much blood off. They're the sort of tweets that we're seeing. And indeed criticism from a former British ambassador in the US running up to 2003, also criticising Tony Blair, saying that the West does bear responsibility. Boris Johnson telling him to put a sock in it. So the former British Prime Minister really coming in for very heavy criticism for those statements over the weekend, Tom.
You can always count on Boris Johnson to be so eloquent.
Absolutely.
And direct. Let's just quickly go to some World Cup stories. An image that appears to have gone viral. Tell us.
That's right. Well, this was during the opening ceremony going back to Friday of last week, and the cameras that were playing the images, Brazilian television cameras, did not pick up on this. It was actually an indigenous child who was drawing attention on the pitch during the opening ceremony to issues of boundaries, new boundaries for Brazil's indigenous lands, in particular the Guarani people. Now, it's interesting that the television cameras chose not to play that image, but it did indeed go viral over the weekend and on social media. There is an attempt by Amazon Watch to draw attention to this issue, by other organisations such as Survival, the global movement for tribal people's rights, the Dark Side of Brazil, hashtag the dark side of Brazil. So both at the opening ceremony, even though that moment was ignored by the cameras, and now on social media, there is an effort to attach the World Cup coverage to this issue, Tom.
All right, all eyes on Brazil, isn't it? Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Tom.
James Creedon. That was Media Watch. And that's